way things are funded are broken, especially for small community social enterprises where you get a lump sum of money and then it's a grant and then it runs out and then you think, well, we're not really a company or we're not corporate, so we might not build investment, but where are we going to get another grant from? And then that will eventually run out. And it's about how to keep things sustainable. Now, you also will find pockets where some funders will fund events, others won't. Some funders want risky things, others want things that are exceptionally stable and you can actually measure X number of people are affected in X number of ways and it's really specific. I'm hopefully going to inspire you to think a bit differently about how to work around this space so that when you come up with a project, or Amplified Leicester as a group is able to push some projects forward, it's not the major hurdle for you taking it further, that funding might not be the first roadblock you hit, that it might be something else, and then that comes later on in the plan. The other thing too is, like I was saying before about My Police and patient opinion, you'd think that these services that people have just created on their own as a public service, so My Police and patient opinion, would need buy-in from the police service or would need buy-in from the NHS. Something that has been done at Social Innovation Camp is looking at ideas that you can have that don't necessarily need that stakeholder involvement early on. So I just finished doing a project with Social Innovation Camp called Jailbreak, and Jailbreak was about finding the best ideas to help support young people and break the cycle of youth offending. One of the ideas that was submitted was called Nudge Me, and it was entered by someone who'd had experience with the prison system, and he said, when I leave prison, I'm given a piece of paper. It's got probation dates until 2012 on it, and I'm expected to remember this. I don't have any credit on my phone. I don't understand where I'm supposed to put these dates. If I lose that piece of paper and if I miss one probation appointment, I get a warning. If I miss two, I'm back in prison for missing an appointment. Even on the best of days, I can't stay organized, and I've got all of my calendars sorted, let alone someone whose life outside of prison depends on him turning up to his appointments. So his idea was a texting reminder service. So he would get a text reminder a week before his appointment, the day before his appointment, and on the day of his appointment, as a way of making sure he knows when he's supposed to be there. Now, there are a few problems with this idea. The first is, what if Probation London doesn't want to support it? How are we going to get that data? How will we get the information about his appointments? But if you think just a little bit differently, there are also ways you can work around that. So aside from the young person who has his list of all of his appointments for probation, his caseworker and his youth offending team also have that data, and they might be more likely to be able to help. Even inputting it into a Google Calendar, once it's there, those reminders are automatic, and you can sync those reminders to be sent to you via text. So although you'd think that engaging with certain stakeholders, like Probation London for the Jailbreak example, or the police service for the My Police example, you don't necessarily need the buy-in instantly. Patient opinion existed long before the NHS said, oh, we actually want to see what people are saying on your site. It existed in its own right until it gained a critical mass, and then people thought, people in the NHS thought, oh yes, this is something that is worth us monitoring and being a part of, doing it together rather than separately. So at the start, some of the best ideas we've seen at Social Innovation Camp are ones that don't necessarily have to have buy-in from the people that run it in the bureaucratic sense, if you know what I mean, rather than people who are running it on the ground. I'd like to give you a few rules about working with local authorities, and these are completely from my own experiences, and they're not hard, fast rules about how you should and shouldn't work with them. There are just different ways, and each local authority operates very, very differently, and this is something that we've learned through the process of some of our past projects. So, the Jailbreak project that I was telling you about, involving helping support ex-offenders, it was a NESTA-funded project, and it was to see what benefits technology could have to a system that is seemingly archaic and very big, and the UK locks up more young people than all of Western Europe combined, and it's definitely a place that technology can help develop and maybe help improve overall. So, what we tried to do at the beginning of Jailbreak was find local authorities who have youth offending as one of their indicators and see if they'd like to get involved from the beginning as a commissioner role to help support the 6 projects after Jailbreak. So it was a bit of a painful process going through, I think, 949 different indicators that the 33 boroughs in London have around different things. So some of them are on public safety, some of them are on youth crime, some of them are on public perception of ASBA, some of them are on reoffending rates and that sort of thing. So it was a matter of finding the boroughs that are trying really hard to target youth crime and getting them involved to pilot one of the projects, such as the Nudge Me example I gave you. And in this way, we were able to get people who would be interested in the project and might be able to scale it. And that involved a lot of conversations with local authority at the very start of the project. This wasn't a, hello, this is what we've made, do you like it? It was more of a, we're going to be building these 6 projects. They're all within the remit of youth offending. Would you like to be involved in it? And then going on to, they watched the process. A couple of them came to the weekend to see what it was about and were part of the judging panel. And then at the end, they would look at some of the projects and say, yes, this is the one I'd like to take on. And now, the next few months are the piloting stages, so seeing where and how these ideas are going to fit in. Another project I'm working on right now is called Get Wired, and the West Norfolk Council, Kings Lynn, has asked myself and Anna from SI Camp to basically get ideas from young people, because the council has a very large budget to do things for young people, but there's kind of a big gap in communication. So they want the ideas to come from young people, and they don't want to just say, well, we've got this money, we think young people need this. They want the ideas from young people on how to make Kings Lynn, or down in Market where it is, a better place to live for those young people. Some of the major issues are transport. It's very rural. There isn't much to do. When we did ideas workshops with them in the past week, a lot of the things that they said was, oh, we're bored. There's nothing to do. We can't get a job because there's no transportation. And so this event is happening at the beginning of June, and it's around finding ideas from the young people and being able to kind of turn them into something that could hopefully improve things, technology-based, and the council wants to fund at least one of the projects, and this is the way that they're looking for it. So in this example, the council, we didn't chase down councils and their indicators. They came to us and said, well, actually, we're not quite sure how to do this. And this is the role I kind of see Amplified Leicester being able to play. Rob was saying on the phone that in Leicester, sometimes you have the council as your audience, and they're quite interested in the kinds of things you're doing, and it could be more of a consultation thing. So maybe you'll be able to help them make decisions based on the things that you've done in the community, or different, you might be able to stop them, for example, from spending a lot of money on a project where you don't actually think the benefit will outweigh the cost or the resources put into it. So in the question period, I can answer a lot more questions about engaging with local authorities, but there are no hard and fast rules. Just know that each one's different, and sometimes it's just a matter of timing and being able to present things or help speak to local authorities in ways that you didn't think you could. It might not even be your own local authority, but it still might be something that can help take your project forward.
Sorry, can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Did you, in those authorities, did you have champions within those that you were working with, or was it just that you just? I guess it's how did you approach them and make that sort of inroads with them?
Okay, so I've got it on my laptop, and I'm happy to show you afterwards. We have a magic spreadsheet, and what it is